Bettie Page, Bernie Madoff, and Germany declares war again. These are all on this day. Hey, welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is December 11th, 2020. It is the 346th day of the year. We got 20 days left. It is the 50th Friday and the 81st day of fall. We got 10 days left until winter, and today is International Mountain Day. International Mountain Day seeks to raise awareness about the importance of mountains. This day aims to conserve the mountain's biodiversity and advocate for sustainable mountain development practices like ecosystem restoration. Biodiversity encompasses all the organisms within the ecosystem, and it is an indicator of the diversity of life within the region. That's a bunch of nonsense from their website, but today's International Mountain Day. Go look at a mountain. Be happy we have them. They store our water till we need it, pretty much. That was one of those things you learn in school, how everything works, I think it was in high school, and they talk about how the snow stays there during the winter, and then as the summer comes, it melts and goes into the rivers and everything else like that, and the streams, and that's how we get our water fresh, and I was just amazed, it was like one of those mind-opening moments when you're just a kid, you're like, oh, it all works together. Anyway, today's International Mountain Day. All right, let's see what else December 11th has given us. 1815, the United States Senate creates a select committee to pretty much get a uniform national currency. 1905, a workers' uprising occurs in Kiev, Ukraine. Back in the day, it was part of the Russian Empire, not the Soviet Union or anything like that. It was known as the Russian Empire. And they establish a new republic. 1920, the Irish War of Independence. In retaliation for a recent IRA ambush, British forces burn and loot numerous buildings in Cork City. Many civilians are beaten, shot, and robbed. They were even verbally abused by the British forces. The thing I read about that was one point they were verbally abused. Okay, I think beatings and being shot and robbed, those go far past being verbally abused. I'm sure if you're shooting someone, robbing them, or beating them, there's already some verbal abuse going on, so you could just leave it off the explanation. I don't know. These days, everyone's so frickin' sensitive, that's probably the most brutal thing you could do to someone. Sure, he killed him, that's understandable, but he called him a moron and an idiot. 1931, the Statute of Westminster, 1931. The British Parliament establishes legislative equality between the UK and the dominions of the Commonwealth, Australia, Canada, Newfoundland, New Zealand, South Africa, and Ireland. 1941, World War II. Germany and Italy declare war on the United States following the Americans' declaration of war against the Empire of Japan in the wake of the attacks of Pearl Harbor. The United States in turn declares war on them. This becomes a world war, as we all know. Germany's like one of the only countries to declare war on the entire world twice in the same century. Oh, by the way, they lost both times. You hope they learned their lesson. 1946, the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund is established, known as UNICEF. 1964, Che Guevara speaks at the United Nations General Assembly in New York City. Che Guevara was an Argentine Marxist revolutionary, physician, author, guerrilla leader, diplomat, and military theorist. He was a major figure in the Cuban Revolution. Cuba wasn't his first or his last hurrah. Che was a medical student in Argentina and decided he wanted to see the world. He went on a long-distance motorcycle ride into the rural parts of South America, and he witnessed severe poverty and realized that not just medicine saves lives. He came to the conclusion the world needed to change. Now, I'm broad brushing this, so forgive me. He basically felt that rich people and big corporations were the enemy of pretty much the entire world. So he went to Guatemala and witnessed a CIA-sponsored coup, and then left there and left for Mexico with a lesson learned. There he met some Cubans that wanted to overthrow the Cuban government. So he went with them to overthrow the Cuban government with Fidel Castro. It worked. They overthrew the government. He played a big part in bringing Russian missiles to Cuba, thus causing the Cuban Missile Crisis. I'm sorry, not Russian, Soviet missiles. Guevara left Cuba in 1965 to bring his traveling rebel show across both Africa and South America. First, unsuccessfully in the Congo, didn't get to overthrow the government there, so I'm sure that was a burr in his saddle. And then later Bolivia, where things got bad. He was captured by CIA-assisted Bolivian forces and pretty much executed. When he was captured, he raised his hands and said, "I'm Che Guevara. I'm more valuable to you alive than dead." They brought him to a schoolhouse and decided that really wasn't the case. They figured that if they had a trial with him, it might put some fire under the revolutionary flame, So they just decided to kill him, and they did. 1968, the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus featuring the Rolling Stones, Jethro Tull, The Who, Taj Mahal, Marianne Faithfull, And The Dirty Mac with Yoko Ono is filmed at Wembley Stadium. 1981, the El Mozote Massacre. Armed forces in El Salvador killed an estimated 1,000 civilians in an anti-guerrilla campaign during the Salvadorian Civil War. Most of these troops were trained by the CIA. As you can see, CIA was busy for many years in Central and South America. 2008, Bernard Madoff is arrested and charged with securities fraud in his $50 billion Ponzi scheme. This was big news. That guy, it was a Ponzi scheme, and everyone thought he was this mastermind of investing and all this other stuff. He was just running a hustle at a very grand scale. He's still in prison today, even though in February of 2020, his lawyer filed for a compassion release from prison because he was suffering from chronic kidney failure, a terminal illness, and they said that he had less than 18 months to live. He was hospitalized for this condition in December of 2019. The request was denied. He's still in the big house. And his poor wife had to forfeit almost all her money. She only has $2 million to live on. That's not enough. They also think that she stored about $15 million someplace else, so I think she's okay. Movies released on December 11th, 1987, we got Wall Street. Great movie. Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, Michael Douglas, Daryl Hannah, James Spader, Sean Young, John C. McGinley, Terrence Stapp, and Hal Holbrook. 1998, we got Rushmore. If you've never seen Rushmore, it's a great movie. It's just a little quirky and a little weird, but it's a pretty good movie. Check that out if you get a chance. And another one. In 2015, The Big Short was released. This is a great movie. Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt, Steve Carell, Christian Bale, Marissa Tomei, and Finn Whitmore. Who's Finn Whitmore? I don't know. He was just in the movie. It's about the financial crisis of 2007-2008 that triggered by the United States housing bubble. Yeah, it's a really good movie, how it all panned out. Born on December 1975, Rey Mysterio was born. You know, I don't get into, the World Wrestling Federation type stuff as much as I used to, but Rey Mysterio is pretty interesting. He's not that big, and the guy's like a total gymnast. It's great. Died on December 11, 1964, American singer and songwriter Sam Cooke. Yeah, I like his music. I know it's probably not the type I should be liking, but I was raised on Los Angeles punk rock, but I like listening to some Sam Cooke. 2008, Bettie Page, American model. She gained notoriety in the 1950s for her pinup photos, which, it was kind of risque at the time. She was in lingerie, bikinis, and naked a lot of the times. Very interesting movie about her. She died at the age of 85 following a bout of pneumonia. What's funny is she totally dropped out of sight in the early 1960s. And even though people did interviews with her, she refused to let them take her picture because she wanted everyone to remember her how she looked in her 20s. It wasn't until almost the end of her life that she finally granted an interview in which they actually filmed her. She was admitted into the hospital on December 6, 2008. After she suffered a heart attack. She'd had pneumonia and all this, and her family eventually agreed and discontinued life support. She died on December 11, 2008 at the age of 85. All right, that's today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. You have a great weekend. It is Friday. We'll see you Monday. Be nice to each other.